Welcome back, Grapplers. We have a new tier list video for you. Today we'll be ranking the most popular and asked about strength and conditioning exercises for BJJ longevity. I have a returning guest, Professor Brian Rafat. Professor, welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Hey, no problem. We've talked about this at the gym, and both you and I get a lot of questions about what types of exercises and what types of weight training should be done outside of the gym. Again, you are the obvious choice for this video. Actually, you are a BJJ high performance coach, and you have quite a few clients that are actively training BJJ, and you're helping them along with that. You also have a seminar coming up. Tell us a bit about what that's about.
That's right. I'm super excited about it because I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I took action right after my last tournament. So it's all in the making, and it's going to be answering all those concerns and questions about strength and conditioning, how to train safely and avoid and prevent injuries, fueling strategies, mindset on in terms of the on and off the mats. So it's just kind of like another angle on how to just really bulletproof your training and lifestyle so that you can continue to train onwards and progress. So I'm super excited about it. It's happening end of the month and
Perfect.
follow it that the following week.
Hey, check it out, folks. Seats are limited. It's happening in Aurora, Ontario. I'm actually hoping he's going to take this show on the road. He's going to be providing just a ton of information. So click on the QR code to register, and it's going to be a blast. So back to the show. Again, these are the most asked about strength and conditioning. There's no way we're going to have an extensive list. I took 20. There's four, I would say, categories of exercises that we're going to be going through. We're going to have the core, functional strength and power. And I think this is key to our audience, the older audience. We're going to talk about a bunch of mobility and injury prevention exercises, some core and stability and conditioning and longevity exercises. So, folks, you're going to get a ton of good information with the 20 exercises that we're going to be sharing with you and going over with you guys. If you have any specific exercises that you want us to go through or give you feedback on, put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. What we're hoping to do, if this video goes well, we're going to pick a couple of these categories and dig down even further and provide even more details. But for now, we got the top 20 most asked about. And here's our tier list, and I'll give you a quick definition of what each tier actually means. So, S tier, that's foundational, must do. So what does that mean to the older grappler? These exercises will have the highest carryover rate to BJJ. There's an excellent safety profile associated with them, and just a big return on investment into these exercises. Tier A, highly beneficial. Movements that strongly support performance and longevity, but may be a bit more specialized or require good equipment or technique. Again, they're really a complement to the S tier, so they're a solid option for sure, but may be inhibiting depending if you have a specific injury. B tier, situational or optional, useful for certain goals. Maybe you're rehabbing, maybe you have a weak point. It adds variety to your program, but they're not mandatory. Value depends on the individual's body, injuries, and time available. Then we have the C tier. Caution, limited use. Exercises that can help but carry a high risk or lower reward for older athletes. And then finally, the bottom tier is the avoid. Avoid at all costs. Whether you're healthy, fully functional, there's just not a return to or any benefit to really performing these exercises other than maybe looking cool in the gym. And that could be questionable. I can think of a few that I just look goofy and I don't think I'm getting any use from it. So let's start off. Are you ready, Professor?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, I am going to start off with pull ups and chin ups. What are your thoughts on those?
Excellent way to develop upper body strength and explosivity within the upper body and actually in the total body. There are a few limitations depending on your shoulder mobility and capability to lift overhead as a master athlete. So it does come with some precaution. But you want me to give it a ranking right now?
Let me give my little spiel and then we'll get to the ranking. So, I agree with you. I think this is the most beneficial exercise. But there's always the but. By the way, fantastic for grips, fantastic for your spine. Even sometimes just hanging is so beneficial. There's just so many benefits that happen, but the negative. And it breaks my heart. I had a couple of bad shoulder injuries, and I struggle with this one. So where I used to be able to do a ton of pull-ups, I'm not able to do it. But where I can do it, and it becomes a little more specialized, is I could do it at the gym. You know where the little weight counterbalance that you can put your knees on and just help you pull up. So I'm not getting the full benefit, but I'm getting the range of motion. And I think it's really valuable, but because the limitation of the dependency on healthy shoulders, and not too many older grapplers have healthy shoulders. So what do you think? What would you rank it at?
I would say it's between B and A because most of the time I think you can work around the shoulder unless it's you got some serious rotator cuff issues. But going through a proper stabilization phase of your shoulders and done correctly, I think you can progress to doing chin-ups quite easily. So I would say it's between A and B. Situational if you have an injury or previous history of shoulder problems, but definitely an A in terms of highly beneficial for what we just discussed as the benefits, grip strength, overall upper body strength, and great way to do a compound movement that's gonna just develop your athleticism overall. So I think it's great.
I think it's core. I'm gonna leave it in A because again, even if you are injured, you can use a strap to help you out. You can use you can use the kind of counterweight balance
Of course,
that are available at the gym.
and
There's ways to get it.
you can also do isometrics. So meaning you're going to hold it up at the top position and just really emphasize that scapular depression and retraction. A lot of times you see people trying to go doing more and their shoulders start to round and their neck rounds, and that's just a bad way of doing it. If you can just align your shoulder blades the way it's meant to be, you're going to really target all of your back muscles. You're going to work your grip and you can just hold it isometrically and get the full benefits
And
of it.
folks, we're not talking muscle ups where you're trying to jam and explode all the way up. It really is a focused exercise. I think muscle ups at our age are dangerous, and I don't think you're getting as much of the benefit if you just really control it the way you did, right? The way you said, right, Brian? Okay, one of my favorites, farmers carries.
Fantastic exercise. I think
Isn't it? Isn't it?
it's the best. But it goes even beyond like the grappler. I think females in their old age should be doing this. Like grip strength is correlated with longevity, and for jiu-jitsu, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And it's again, you're working all the systems together. So not only are you working your grip, but you're also working your core, you're working your shoulder stabilizers. And anybody, almost anyone can do it with any barely any limitations. And you should be able to farmers carry like what double your weight at a certain point. So it's like
Whoa, double my weight. Oh, geez.
no, I wouldn't say double your weight, but you know, there's many ways to do it, and a grip strength is very very important. So
There's just huge value in this one. Again, whether you're coming back from an injury, again, no one says you have to, do 200 pounds and right out of the gate. You can start with lightweight just to get that movement going and then progress from there, like you mentioned, Brian. I think it's tremendous. I feel amazing after I do this one's a staple for me. The challenge for some folks is you need the space to be able to do it, but it's easy enough, right? You find a couple of weights, and whether they're dumbbells or kettlebells, and you just walk up and down. One of the ones I like, Bry, is I do the farmer's carry. I'll go up and down. I forget how many yards it is. But then what I'll do is, and my arms are tired and I'm exhausted, and then I'll do a sprint, and I'll sprint back and forth,
yeah.
and then I'll do another set of the farmer's carry, and then by the my heart rate gets so nice and high and but controlled, right? It's not exhausting. All I'm doing is sprinting. And then that second round of farmers carries a real nice push and a nice burn. So you're getting it in the forearms, you're getting it in the shoulders, you're getting it in the legs. It's a tremendous exercise.
For sure, and it's very similar to pull-ups in the sense of that for your grip strength, there's many ways to do it. If you don't have space, you can do hangs for your grip. But farmers carry, if you don't have enough weights, you can start holding a plate, one of those
Yes.
bumper plates, with your fingers. So working on the index finger and thumb, and then middle finger, ring finger, and walk as you're doing it. So now
Wow.
you're working on all the intrinsic muscles of your hand. All of those contribute to your grip strength as well. So it depends. There's so many ways to do it. You can do it standing on the spot, but all of those things are going to be beneficial overall. So I would say
This is going to sound silly. I didn't even think about the plates and just holding on to the plates with my fingers. That'd be tremendous grip strength training.
imagine 5 pounds or 10 pound plate, and
Yeah.
you're walking 5, 10 steps each, and then you repeat, you repeat, and you keep walking back and forth.
Wow.
Your arms are going to be shot. Your forearms are going to be shot. Same thing,
Okay.
you
I'm
know. And
trying that one. That's amazing.
for grappling,
So,
especially, that's great. It's
oh,
really
for everything, I find the older we get, the more I'm dependent on that grip, especially against younger guys, right? Like I think grip strength, forearm strength, and that's where I'm hurt. I had to slow down this week because I hurt my whole front arm, and I can't pull and push. And I tell you, without that type of strength or that type of ability, it really is hard to control the younger grapplers. So where do you want to put this?
yes.
I Yeah. Yeah, that was easy. Okay, let's do a curveball. Let's go yoga.
Yoga as an exercise.
Yoga and flow drills as an exercise, yes.
Okay.
And it falls under the category of mobility and injury prevention, right? So what are your thoughts on yoga as an exercise regime, if you will?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I don't want the yogis to come after me. So I just want I like yoga actually.
We know a few yoga BJJ guys.
Nogi yogis coming after me, right? But yeah, it's again, it's fantastic. I did yoga for a couple of years from I'd say white belt to purple, and I fell in love with it. It really, really helped. I would just suggest that because it's in a class setting, make sure you have a good instructor. And then the volume, the amount matters because if you're doing like if you're doing four to five classes of jujitsu per week, and then you're also doing another four classes of hot yoga, that may cause injury, right? Especially with an overcrowded class and you're just following the poses, but you're not doing things correctly. But in general, globally speaking, yoga is amazing and it's an amazing complement to jujitsu because what it's doing is you're working on it's power. It's power poses that are going to condition your muscles isometrically, which is exactly what you're doing in jiu-jitsu, especially in gi, mostly in gi, right? So it complements, and you work on because all the poses are going to target the front and back. You bringing the body back to balance and addressing the imbalances that are created from jiu-jitsu as a sport.
You ready for my feedback?
Yeah,
You ready? Brace yourself.
yeah,
Brace yourself.
yeah,
Uh, don't waste your time. I love hot yoga.
yeah.
I'll tell you what I use hot yoga for. I don't use it as part of my regular regime. Where I use it is if I'm preparing for a tournament, and I use it more. I can stretch. I
Oh,
stretch
wait, no.
already. I use it to be able to control my weight and to help me cut weight, and specifically hot yoga. Regular yoga, just I detest it. I don't get anything from it. Again, I do some yoga poses while I'm stretching, but not, I don't see much of the benefit. In fact, some of them I think you're just going to hurt yourself. The way I use it when I'm preparing for tournaments is there's certain poses where I'm leaning back or that are very uh, challenging for my spine. I won't even bother doing, but I do like it
Doing
from.
a pigeon before class every.
I do a pigeon pose every. It's my favorite. It's my favorite pose. I didn't say I hate it. I just think it's not that useful. As far as helping my jujitsu on a day to day basis. Again, it helps me get ready for tournaments. I do use it as well. There is a bit of recovery in there. Again, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You don't want to go overboard and start training 4 or 5 times a week at the yoga center, but maybe once a week or twice a week, and don't be so extreme with it. I think there are some casual benefits to it. I definitely recommend hot yoga if you're preparing for a tournament and you need to cut a bit of weight. It's a great way for not as the prime source to cut weight, but to kind of help maintain that weight and help give you a little bit of an extra sweat without having putting on too many layers.
Yeah.
And the view is nice too.
Yes, yes, for sheep. No. So I don't think we're too far off with our answers. So it's situational and you do want to proceed with caution. And so what I'm saying is it can complement because there is a benefit in my view, but not if you're doing it
As
more
a prime.
as a, yeah, exactly.
Where are you at with this? I'll tell you where I'm at. I'm at a B. I don't think it you should completely shut out. Again, it's B is situational or optional. For my situation, it's when I'm getting ready for a tournament.
For me, it's between situational and proceed with caution, limited use, because I get a lot of clients coming to me from yoga injuries, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing, like I said, you need a good instructor because it's like they throw you
Very
in a
very
busy
important.
class, like 30, 40 members and one instructor, and then you're doing all these extreme range poses where once you warm up, you're doing it, but maybe you're going beyond that range of motion that you should. And then
Right.
you're combining that with jujitsu, and then all together, that's too much volume. That's like you're
Yeah, there are some instructors that and bless them because that's their primary activity, right? They want to kind of come in and help you, but then they'll take a pose a little bit too far, and I'm not there to take the pose a little bit too far,
yeah.
right? I'm there to get my stretch and sweat and And I don't look at them negatively overall. If I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, I'd probably go to yoga on a regular basis. But I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go C. Let's do that. Let's go with. Hey team, I've got something special to share. One of our favorite guests, Professor Brian Rafat, is hosting a seminar called Optimizing BJJ Performance and Longevity for Master Athletes. It'll be held in Aurora, Ontario at Wabi Sabi BJJ on Saturday, September 27th from 1 to 3 p.m. Spots are limited, so lock yours in today and invest in your longevity on the mats. Single leg balance work. So like lunges or standing with your knee folded or standing. Again, there's a bit of a yoga element to it, right? So if you want to lift one knee and hold it, if you want to stretch out your leg, it is related to yoga. I would say.
Like, are you pointing to that
Yeah,
picture?
I'm pointing. Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
it can be done in
Lunges is another one. You know, lunges are
many contexts. So
yes.
I think I mean that's part of strength and conditioning.
It's not stretching. It's not stretching, but it's a way of adding movement and putting more weight onto one leg. So there's lifting, holding. Uh, I think it's a lot to do with managing specific injuries. Maybe if you're coming off a knee injury and you want to slowly add weight to one of your legs, I think that's why it's one of the more popular ones that we're asked about.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it under yoga. I would say that there's a crossover with all of the important adaptations for jujitsu. So mobility, stabilization between the different sides. It's not bilateral, so meaning if you can do a heavy lunge. Lunges are great because they're staggered, and if you think about when you're in many positions in jiu-jitsu or in any sport, you're going to be in a lunge setting more than just bilaterally. And there's going to be infinite ways of you being utilizing single-legged movements that are beneficial. So I think it's it comes I would give it at the top ranking.
An S?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Not just looking at that as like the picture. I'm putting it under the classification of unilateral exercises, staggered movements, and that can be done in many ways.
Can you give some examples? Like again, the picture is probably a little bit deceiving. So we talked about lunges. Lunges is one. Are there other examples that you can
Yeah, like
quickly think about?
if you think about the imbalances that you develop are all what are some of the injuries? You got lower back injuries because you are there's too much stress on your like your lumbar spine because your body is kind of too tight. Your quads are too tight, your hip flexors are tight, and it throws off and puts more stress on your lower back. So hip hinging movements are very important for you to restore joint function of your pelvis. And that movement right there, believe it or not, what she's doing is activating, putting her posterior chain, her hamstrings back onto load, and also working on her lower leg. All these things that kind of shut off when we are training all the time and favoring specific movements. So it can be as a prehabilitation movement to restore function back to the posterior chain being the calves, Achilles tendon, hamstrings, the way your pelvis moves, like how do you expect to do kettlebells, just normal swings if you're not kind of like versed into moving, especially on one leg. It's easy to do things on both sides, but to do something on one leg, now you're, incorporating the elements of balance, which we need in jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of movements that we do on one leg. Also, whenever you're on one leg, you're also working your stabilizers, like things that are going to help you with knee injuries and stuff like that. And then you can take something like as basic as this and go all the way to doing this with putting your body under load.
I was just going to ask that. Can I add weights to these type of
Romanian deadlift.
exercises?
One-legged, single-legged, stiff-legged deadlifts, right? As a progression, you always want to start with both, but you progress. And huge benefits all around.
Got
Again,
it.
yeah, yeah. So, but I'm
Okay,
not
excellent.
supposed to look at it like in that picture and say, oh, this is not really doing anything. But that's the whole misconception with,
Right.
that's what I'm like trying to kind of like highlight, is that with strength and conditioning, you got to hit all the boxes. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What's the intention?
Wow. Okay. I'm a little shocked about that, but again, with the few pictures that I looked at, I didn't see the big picture, right? And it's not something I focus on particularly, but it sounds like I probably should, right? Let's get to another one. Planks
Planks are good.
and variations of planks, right? I got another variation in here. It's a very specific one, but let's talk about planks in general. So the challenge with the plank is it's good. It really helps with your core. I think the challenge with the plank is if you get really good at it, how long are you going to stay there? Right? So if you do it all the time, yeah, are you going to stay there for 20 minutes and just sit in the plank, right? So, I know doing it in 1 minute intervals is hugely or working up to 1 minute intervals it can be hugely beneficial. But what happens when you probably get bored of it. Like I could tell you, I've gotten bored of planks. It's part of it's a warm up right now more than a core exercise for me. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the simple plank getting boring, but it's something that's essential because there's different fibers in your stomach, like abdominal muscles, right? And the plank targets the deepest one, the transverse abdominis, which is like a saran wrap around your spine. So if anybody has lower back injuries, that's the first phase of your core training, which is simple but boring, but you need to go through it. Because if you don't go through your stabilization is you're holding something like you're working your deep core. It's not just the plank, you got to do side planks and then the variations that become
Right.
more advanced, which are you're now on an unstable surface or you're moving, so you're working on dynamic stability, like doing the stirring the pot on the ball. You know how you're planking on the ball and now you're stirring the pot. Those are all very, very good rehab and prehab exercises to prepare your deep core to stabilize your spine so that you don't get these injuries. So even though they're pretty boring, it's worth it to go through a nice phase lasting for a couple of weeks to a month or so, and then get into more advanced stuff. And if you do that properly, then when you go into like you're going to mention this exercise coming up soon, the deadlift, it won't be as situational because the deadlift has lots of benefits in terms of overall strength, lower back strength, spinal strength, absolute strength. But the problem is most people they don't do the stabilization phase, which is doing the boring stuff like the planks or the side planks and stir the pots and stuff to get to the point where you can deadlift without hurting your back or getting injured, right?
So progression is the key, right? So it's all about progression and doing the appropriate research on what progression actually looks like so you can get to some of these larger, more significant style of exercises, especially after an injury.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially after an injury or during an injury, after an injury, it's a great time to start and go back to the simple stuff, and then start working your way up, right? Because whatever you're doing, as good as it is, once you stop doing it, you're deconditioning. So if you, like you said, progression, you got to go through periodization where for a couple of weeks, for a month, you're working on this goal, and then you move on to another thing. But the problem is when you move on to a couple of other adaptations, then now the previous gain that you made, you're deconditioning it. So that's why overall training can get boring sometimes because sometimes you have to go back to a phase, right?
Exactly. Oh, that's some really good insight in there. So where would you put this on the tier list?
Um, I would say because I think we all need to do it. It's look, think about it. When you're on your hands in jiu-jitsu and you're kind of like you're anytime you're posting on your hands, you're planking, I would say S tier.
S tier, right? Okay. So it's foundational. Everyone must do it. I'll take that. Let's go.
Not all the time, but you need to go through
Well,
phase.
you got a progression out of it. I think that's sort of the theme, right? So again, if you're coming off an injury or if you haven't done heavy weights in years or decades, you better start with some of these core exercises to build up that strength because again, if you jump straight into some of these heavy weights, whether they're good or not, because some of the stuff we just do to look good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not necessarily to optimize.
Nothing wrong with that.
You're gonna get hurt. So building up to it is key. Let's go with face pulls and reverse flies. Face pulls and reverse flies. Now, I do this one on a regular basis where I'm grabbing and pulling to my head, and I've got my elbows out, and I do think that is a tremendous exercise. It's kind of I do use it as a warm up exercise, and I also use it some days depending what my energy level is like. Is I'll close off with it as well, and it gives me a little bit of that pulling motion and working all my upper shoulders, and that again there's a huge variety of different mechanisms. Some people use the bands. What are your thoughts?
Um, I have to be honest, like I haven't done face pulls in a long time, but I agree with you. It's a fantastic exercise for grapplers. I actually have a post from years ago doing a face pull on Instagram.
There
Um,
you go.
there's a huge crossover, very beneficial, mimics that motion in jiu-jitsu where a lot of times trying to like to mimic that same motion. And anything that deals with scapular movement in different ranges is beneficial.
And there's the reverse fly there too, where you can add where the weights are a little bit lower, and then you're just kind of exploding up with it. And again, when I say explode in a controlled manner,
Yeah,
I think there's some huge benefits for that as well because you're getting into the chest, you're hitting a lot of different spots on the upper body.
yeah, yeah. Can you show me the reverse fly that you do?
Right here,
Okay.
what this guy's doing right here, he's got dumbbells on both sides, and he's just kind of leaning over,
Yeah,
and he's pulling back.
yeah. So those are more like rear delts. Again, continue to work on shoulder stabilizers, back of the body. So, they're great.
Where would you put those?
I would put them. Was the second one the A tier?
There's highly beneficial as A and or B, which is situational and optional.
Yeah, I would say
Okay. The face pulls more or it doesn't matter.
face pull, face pulls more.
Okay. Let's go with a famous one. Let's go with squats.
Yeah,
Now that to me, again, the squats are kind of foundational. Um, but if you do them wrong, you can get hurt. That's one of the prefaces for doing it. Really, technique is so important for these. What are your thoughts?
yeah, well said. I think that's all that needs to be said because it's a great tool. It's one great tool, but it's only one. And if you have limitations, if you have injuries, you haven't gone through a stabilization phase, and what's your goal? Your goal is to get strong. And you see a lot, this happening a lot. A lot of people are going way heavier than they need to, and now they're risking injuries where all you really need is the minimum effective dose, right? So um, if you're more mindful of how much weight you're using, your technique is good, you're in alignment, you're doing proper squat mechanics, great. But how often does that happen? So, it's a tool. I don't think it's a must, especially.
I think people try to max out too much on this one on a regular basis.
Same with deadlifts.
Yeah. Where would you put it?
I think situational.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that is a B,
yeah.
our first B. Now that's funny because would there be a difference? So we're talking in general here, it would be a B. But if you're an active competitor, even whether you're older or not,
That would be then it would be an A, but
yeah,
there I think there's a slight difference between an aging recreational grappler versus a competitor, right? For me. So where I do squats, actually it was part of my last phase, but I don't have any restrictions in my hip or lower back anymore. I mean, I've had my lower back injuries, but I've corrected them over time. It took a while. But for the recreational aging grappler who wants to just kind of be consistent and enjoy their journey, I don't know if it's something that they need to do, or there's many ways and variations for the squat. They don't necessarily need to do a weighted back squat or like a front squat that not everybody has the mobility to do. So that's it kind of changes the answer. It's dependent, context dependent.
yeah, yeah. No, it stays where it is. Let's jump to hip thrusts. Whether weighted or not, I like them weighted. It's
Yeah,
kind of a, go
hip
ahead.
thrusts are fantastic because what do we need from 30 and up? The first thing that goes, muscle fiber, are the fast twitch, and we want to stay explosive. And anything that helps us with good movement within the hip, and developing that explosivity that comes from that hip extension, that hip thrusts are a fantastic way to do it. You just can't have any imbalances in your lower back and stuff. You need to be able to hip hinge properly.
Yeah, your core needs to be ready for this if you're going to start doing it weighted. But it's a great one to progress. If nobody's ever told you guys and you're just starting out in jiu-jitsu, the secret to jiu-jitsu is hips. Hip strength, hip mobility, hip movement, right? If you could take that away from your opponent, you're probably winning the match. So, really building on this, I think it's really super important.
Yes, agreed.
Where would you again, you would start this off with no weight, right? Just to kind of get used to the movement and then a very lightweight and
There's no weight, but when you're getting to the point that you're doing hip thrusts explosively, I'm assuming that you have kind of like you've progressed to this point where now you can be more explosive.
yeah, don't just jump to it.
Yeah, so you've already developed a certain movement pattern that allows you to put it under weight. So there's many ways to do it. You can do banded, right? Instead of putting weight and just kind of like doing a hinge, you can be standing upright. You're holding a rope, those tricep ropes between your legs and then hinging and then thrusting. You can use a band. So at that point, under load or weight or resistance is warranted because you want to kind of like be develop that explosivity, right?
Where do you think it belongs?
A.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It is important. Let's go. This one, this next one is more injury prevention or addressing existing injuries, but I'm interested in your viewpoint as an ongoing exercise. The rotator cuff, specifically with band work. I think we all do this. I do this for my shoulder,
Yeah.
kind of a regular one that I do. Now I'm using it more for maintaining my strength and movement in my shoulder. So it's one I kind of still do on a regular basis. It's not one that you want to put any weight on. So I don't go out there on a weighted thing and start see how much I can pull. It's more I'm loosening up my shoulder and shoulder mobility. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's under the classification of mobility corrective
Yeah.
work. And quite often, this is what you see is that most people will do this, some form of variation when they're injured. But then once they're kind of like overcome their injury, they stop. Or you'll get some people kind of incorporating it here and there. I do think there's value. Like I'm always doing some sort of banded work for the upper body, whether it's part of a warm up or just kind of in the gym and doing some accessory work. So I think that there's a high value to do these things all the time. I just don't know if it's being done all the time, right?
Right. Is it worth doing all the time? I guess
I
is the
think so.
question.
Because like I said, we're always any sport, okay, especially jujitsu, we develop these imbalances because we're repeating similar movement patterns, and it does affect our grip and our shoulders and our scapular region. So we really need to offset the added tension through restoring joint function, and banded work is a great way to kind of like activate those muscles that have been inhibited as a result of a formation of an imbalance. So
Perfect.
I
Where would you put it?
S.
Really?
Yeah, and like I said, I may be guilty of it. I don't do it all the time. I try to.
I have no choice. I have to.
Yeah.
This shoulder thing has been stuck with me for the last few years, and I just didn't know if it applied to everyone or it's me, right? I see everyone. I could tell right away when I walk into a gym who has a shoulder injury because that's the
Well,
exercise they're
yeah,
doing.
you how someone's walking, right? So
Exactly. Hanging leg raises.
a little bit risky, but beneficial.
Okay, why?
Well, because it's a core power exercise. It's like it's a bit advanced. You definitely need um core deep core strength, so intra-abdominal strength, like going through a proper phase of planks and dynamic planks and things like that that get your deep core working. But now you also need core strength, which is different. Core strength is being able to leg raise. You see in Muay Thai, they get a you make you do 1,000 leg raises, and people develop lower back injuries because if you're not strong enough to bring your legs up, right? And then your lower back arches off the floor, then now you're stressing your lower back because your deep intra-abdominal strength is lacking. So you need deep core strength and the strength to bring your legs up with your other fibers, like your hip flexors and your lower abs and your rectus abdominis, which is your six pack. Like these are everything's working at the same time now. Now,
So this is yeah. Go ahead.
that's even hard. So that's just the leg raise, but a hanging leg raise, now you're holding your body in place, like you're using your grip, your entire body, you're supporting your entire body weight on your hands. So you have to keep stable. You're swinging and you have to bring your legs up. So that's going to put a lot of extra stress on your spine. So it's not for everybody, especially.
I'm gonna suggest this, and we're going to rate it based on the hanging leg raise as it's shown in the picture, right? Where you're really hanging with your arms straight and your legs are coming up.
Yeah,
I'll
that,
give you folks an alternative, right? Because I do like the core aspect to it. So where I go with it is I go in one of those chairs where you just kind of
Roman.
you put your yeah, and then as opposed to doing the full leg raise, I'll just lift my knees, and and as if I'm feeling strong and I want some sort of progression, then I can do the leg raises with that. So it doesn't quite have the pressure on the shoulders of hanging, and it focuses more on the core.
Yeah,
So where would you put this one?
situational.
Which is B. So it's not caution. It's not limited use. You would put it situational.
Like between B and C.
B and C.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, we'll leave it on B.
yeah. Like I said,
Again,
it
I
all
like the alternative.
it all depends.
Yeah.
I do like that exercise as well because you're also strengthening your hip flexors, and your hip flexors are huge when you in guard, right? So
Right.
there is a huge benefit, um, but it's situational, right?
I have this one here that I personally never heard of, but apparently it's one that people have mentioned or asked about. It's called a Jefferson curl. Essentially, you're standing on a box and you're bending over. What the picture doesn't show is there's also an extension where the hands go below the box, so lower than your feet, essentially. So you're hanging over the edge here. I don't know why this one came up as a popular one, but people have asked about it. To me this is a stretch to your toes. I don't know why you would want to go lower than your toes with your, leaning forward. What are your thoughts?
It's
Are you
going
familiar with?
I'm familiar. I've never done it, but I'm familiar with the concept because if you think about like if you're always when you're when you're training with these exercises, whatever you're doing, you're kind of like downloading proper movement patterns. But the problem is in martial arts, especially, you're not always going to have perfect form. Like you can't do a squat with your back rounded, right? You have to be in alignment. But then in martial arts, you're going to be prone to these vulnerable positions. So I think the idea is to put yourself in those positions and develop resilience. Also,
Okay.
you do this kind of, what was it called again?
Jefferson curls.
Yeah, so where you going past the box, the idea is to kind of like develop a further range of motion that your body can handle. So
Just not
like,
used to,
yeah,
right? You're just putting in an abnormal
while
position.
if you have no strength behind it, you're going to be vulnerable to injury, right? But if you can go super low past the point that like you can see past the box, and then you've developed strength through that range, then now you're more resilient when you're within your sport, right?
When you're put into awkward positions when that heavyweight decides to twist you like a pretzel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or somebody twists you like a pretzel.
Where would you put this one?
I'm picturing right now Collar Sleeve pulling someone and they're like they're like they're like this, but they're good.
Right?
They're good. They're not like suffering, right? So I would
Yeah.
say where situational to even C, proceed with caution, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put the C.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with overhead press.
You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Overhead press is unfortunately, but for especially for recreational master athletes, the thing is like 30 and up, you got your sedentary lifestyle. So you'll train hard and everything, but for most of the day you're working at the office, and if you're not, you slowly start to lose that overhead range of motion, right? And then now you're putting, your shoulders under a lot of load by doing the military press. It's great. It's a good exercise. But again, you have to proceed with caution, depending on if a reality for us is that we're dealing with a lot of shoulder rotator cuff problems because we're overuse and always using our grip and things like that. This can cause a little bit more impingement because things are already tight there. So again, just like the squats, it's a good tool, but I want to do the minimum effective dose, right? So maybe I'll do some
Right.
isometrics. Maybe I'll go light. Maybe I'll just, I'm not gonna go crazy with it, right? Like the
I have to say that this over the years has been one of my favorites, but not the way it's being shown in the picture per se. I do it with a kettlebell and I do it one arm
yeah,
at a time.
modify it, right? So
But to your point, it's not an essential movement. Probably what's better is if you're more leaning back and you're pushing off the chest, like you know.
what's better is just kind of like working more with the shoulder stabilizers than the actual deltoid.
Okay,
And even when you're working the deltoid, the shoulder, like doing a press motion, going lighter, just simple stuff, right? The kettlebell is great.
Yeah. Where would you put that?
Um, Situational.
Situational. Okay. We're getting through this, buddy.
Oh yeah,
Let's go. Let's go with, I want to do that one, but there we go. Ab wheel rollouts.
fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, that's a part of planking and progressing, right?
Yes.
Basically
Yeah.
what you're doing with the ab rollout is it went from stability to becoming dynamic stability because now your spine has to be stable using the same muscle but while your arms are going through movement. So while you're putting yourself in a greater angle that puts pressure on your core. And then think about just everything we do is dynamic. So you need to be um, there's a huge crossover for again jujitsu or any sport that's kind of like where you're posting on the ground and you need your abs to be deep core to be engaged and supporting your spine. So it's huge. It's very, very good.
Great. I've never done it. So, I played around with it. My wife does it. She's really good at it, but I've never tried it.
It's very challenging if done correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It always surprises me when I watch her do it. I'm like, okay, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty skillful. But again, that's like you said, you need to progress to that. You really need to work on those planks and
The other thing too is like it you can't have shoulder issues and do that properly too, right? It keeps you honest. It keeps you honest. It's like, all right, if you can't do that and you know you have many areas that need work, then it can help you really yeah, like design a nice routine addressing your weaknesses, right? It highlights your weaknesses. So it's good.
where would you put it?
Um a
Perfect. Let's go Turkish get-ups.
fantastic.
This is a core movement for me. This is, if you're to me, this is way back when I was a kid growing up as a wrestler. This was a key one, and I think this is a key one for jiu-jitsu. Just being able to go from the ground and be able to move with a little bit of weight, and it's just a perfect type of exercise. It's not fun. You don't want to kill it with super heavy weight, but it's something you can progress through. What are your thoughts?
If you when you get to a point where you're doing a Turkish get up properly with weight, then that means that you've gone through all the adaptations and you don't have any imbalances, more or less, and you're good. So Turkish get up is like always one of the last phases. That means you've done your stable. You means you can't not have a good, strong, deep core. Your shoulders are nice and mobile and strong. You can do overhead motions without aggravating anything. You have the hip mobility, right? So hip mobility is huge for jiu-jitsu. You know, there's really no imbalances anywhere. And so and it's gonna check the box of in jiu-jitsu, you need to be able to get up. You need to be able to pick somebody up from the floor with no issues and so it checks all the boxes.
Excellent. Where does that go?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna. Well, it's part of my routine. Always has.
Yeah, I always come back to it at some point or other or some variation. So it's great.
I'm gonna jump styles here and go rowing machine.
One modality, one tool for you to develop aerobic conditioning. It could be steady state, it could be zone two, it could be VO2 max, but it's just one, like which is VO2 max is the higher heart rate zone.
Just going insane.
Yeah, it's just one tool, one method. To be honest with you, I always say to myself, I'm gonna try it, but I have yet to do it. So I haven't played around with the rowing machine, but I know it's a good one.
It's something I will add into my interval training. It's not something I do on a regular basis for the cardio. Usually, when I'm just training day to day, week to week, I don't really bother much with much additional cardio specific training. But as when I do need to ramp up my training, it is one of the options from an interval training perspective. Again, because of the ability to all right, next one. I've got a curveball for you. Again, it's sort of similar to some that we've already covered. Something called a Copenhagen planks, where you're basically using a bench and you're just planking in different variations of planking. What are you familiar with the Copenhagen
Yep,
plank
right off
specifically?
the
Yeah,
bat, that's an S. It's a fantastic exercise because, again, it's a plank, right? So it's a very,
yeah.
but think about all the knee injuries that people sustain. And that's one of the problems is groin strength to stabilize your hip. And if you have a kind of like dysfunctional hip stabilizers, your knees are going to be more prone to force coming up the kinetic chain, right? You're not going to absorb force correctly because of your hip instability. So it can be done while you're rehabbing. It could be done as a prehab, so trying to prevent injuries, and it could be done as a stabilization phase. But it's super beneficial and important for grapplers.
How do you progress with something like that? Do you put weight on your leg or what?
Well, it's hard enough to just see what she's doing right there.
Yes, yeah.
It's hard enough just to get that bottom leg off the floor. So what you can do is like, depending on if you're injured or not, you can keep your bottom foot on the floor and slowly take some of that body weight off that bottom foot, or you can do it on a band where you actually have a band for the bench. Instead of a bench, you have a band on a squat rack you have tied, and then so now it's unstable and you're putting your the top leg on top of a band. That's how you kind of like
Wow.
progress it. Yeah. And because of that, the banded stuff is giving you more instability so that you're getting everything going and making it more intense. But Copenhagen's are great.
Amazing. I never heard of it. I never even seen it until I saw that picture. And again, when I saw the picture, I'm like, oh, I think I've seen this, but I've never incorporated or had to incorporate it. So
I had a period of time where I had some like back-to-back knee injuries, and
right.
yeah, part of the rehab was doing a lot of Copenhagen's and stuff, and then just started incorporating into my strength and conditioning. It's great.
Okay, everyone's favorite deadlifts.
Yeah, I would put it in the exact same category as the squats for the grappler.
B.
Uh, was it
It's situational and optional.
situational and optional? I love it. I do it. I'm not saying it can't be an S. It can't be classified as an S, but I'm thinking about everybody and where people lie. And I think it's a great one, but a lot of people kind of fall into the trap of thinking deadlifts is great, but why? What's the intention? What's the goal? So I would say between B and A.
Okay. Again, we're putting some of the core. What some people are going to say, what are these guys talking about? We're kind of putting some of the core traditional exercises into B. But remember, folks, like we're saying, this is optional. So if you've been weight training since the beginning of time, and and your goal is, and you've strengthened and you're not suffering any particular injuries, like, yeah, have at it. Like, these are the traditional core exercises to build strength. But the theme that you're seeing here is you really need sometimes you need to get back to basics and build up before you get to a lot of these core exercises. And that's where people get hurt at the gym. They just jump to the traditional stuff without really thinking, without having a plan and thinking through it, and say, hey, look, I'm lifting weights. And not having a proper approach to it.
Yeah, and then going way heavier than you need to, right?
Right. Let's go kettlebell swings.
All right, so movements like Olympic lifts and then movements like kettlebell swings, they're much faster and they're more technique based than
Yes.
standard typical weight.
I love kettlebells,
Yeah.
but you're absolutely right. Like you
So,
could really screw it up.
yeah, you can. So the danger lies in these movements when you join a class or like a F20, what is it, F24 kind of like gym,
25. Well, I don't know what. Yeah, yeah.
right? And then they're doing like it's the wrong protocol, right? Or even CrossFit do thousand hip hinges. Or
Hey, I went to CrossFit for a bit, and I just kept getting hurt.
well, because it's too fast, right? So you have to
Yeah.
develop those imbalances and develop the technique done correctly with no weight, just like kata style, and start with your mobility work, foam rolling, like all those things matter, and then just do it right and work your way up. So again, does a grappler need? It is one very because you talk to grapplers and you talk to guys and they're like, yeah, man, I'm doing a lot of kettlebell work and I love it. I hear that a lot, right? And well, I don't say anything and I'm like, okay, great, but it's just one tool and it depends how you're doing it, right? So, yes, it's applicable, it's helpful. It does work. It's a hip thrust, basically, right?
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, so it
That's
is.
why I liked it.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. Just be careful. Make sure you're doing it right.
You got to what I like kettlebells in general is to mix things up. I get bored easily, so I like the ability to change up my routine. You use traditional weights, traditional machines, and that. I find the older I get, the more I'm going to machines for the safety aspect and to kind of deal with all my injuries. I'm suck it. I don't care anymore. When I was a little younger, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna lift as much weight and get as strong as possible. But I'm a little more calculating now. Kettlebells, you're absolutely right. It really is about the technique because the movement of those kettlebells, if not properly managed, you're gonna throw something out or get it. It's not a rehab mechanism, that's for sure.
No, no.
Okay, where would you put those? Probably like a B, I would say situational optional.
Yeah,
All right. Um my most hated and favorite all at the same time, the assault bike.
that's exactly how I feel.
If you're getting ready for a tournament, it's a must.
I,
I'm telling you folks, like if you wanted to pick any high heart rate exercise that hits the most number of muscles, legs and arms. I find the assault bike is the greatest as a day to day type machine to work on your cardio. Now, I don't think it's necessary for everyone to be on the assault bike, but man, to me it's a difference maker when I'm getting ready for a tournament. So rounds for the Masters is 5 minutes, and I'll put on 5 minutes on that thing, and I'll just try to kill myself, and I'll do like a shorter rest period. Like I'll try to mimic what the tournament will feel like. So I'll go on the assault bike for 5 minutes, and then I'll have a 5 minute break, and then I go back on for 5 minutes. Like we're going for the Masters, so I got to figure out, am I going to have 3 rounds or am I going to have 4 rounds? And that's how many rounds I work to. So obviously, to properly use an assault bike, you're not just going to, I'm going to go 3 rounds of 5. No, no, you have to build. It gives me a target to build up to, and I'm freaking dead after the assault bike. It's just it's the best for tournament preparation. But what are your thoughts in general?
yeah, so what you intuitively are talking about is the Norwegian 4x4, and it's best, yeah, so it's done best by doing something like the Airdyne bike. Actually, it's the same thing for me. It's like it's a love and hate, but before a tournament, before Master Worlds being the last one of my season, I for a couple of months get into that phase and I do the so Norwegian 4x4, you warm up for like 5-10 minutes and then you go 4 minutes all out, 90 to 100% of your heart rate max. And that's not easy to do. So you're going
No.
crazy. And then for 3 minutes, you're going on a lower intensity and you repeat that 4 times. So it's a killer, but not only are you like your cardio, your VO2 max is like after a couple of weeks, my Whoop wouldn't even track my jujitsu sessions as like as a workout just because my
I've never measured it, but that makes
it
sense.
makes sense, right? And then you
Yeah, yeah.
feel it, like you roll and you're just not if it's one thing, it's technique, but it's not your cardio that it's a problem. You're like you'll go through your arms will be gassed, let's say from your grip, but you're not huffing and puffing because you're
Right.
so fit. So it's a love and hate.
It's funny because, and it sounds like we're feeling the same. And let me give it my common guys terminology. When I do these type of interval training, and specifically the assault bike, it's funny. I don't get gassed when I'm training hard. It's the muscle endurance that kills me before my breathing and heart rate kills me, which is completely different from the norm, right? It's a totally different experience.
It's yeah, exactly. It's like your grip is shot, but you're good to go. You're not even like
Good to go.
you're good to go. So it's an amazing, it's love hate because
Love.
yeah, and I would suggest to do it for like it's not something that you do all year round, but it's a fantastic way to improve your aerobic conditioning. But I will say that specificity is also important. It's the most important thing. Meaning, if I want to get my cardio up for jujitsu, I get good at jujitsu. My technique, my rolling, I emphasize all those things. My sparring. But obviously, this is an amazing way to improve your total maximum VO2 max, which is the total amount of oxygen consumption at the highest intensity that you can sustain. So it's a great way for all high intensity, longevity. Fantastic.
I could tell you a lot of because again, Brian and I have been competing for years and years and years and years, and you know, amongst being amongst many other competitors, they all have the love hate, but it is essential. Yeah, so I think it's a B as well, right? So we're not telling people you have to do this on a week by week basis. What we do, however, say is if you are going to do tournaments or planning on doing tournaments, we highly recommend you. What was the word you used there? I like the term how you cycled it. You used a cool term when you cycled the assault bike. You did one round hard and you did
Yeah,
a break.
Norwegian 4x4.
Norwegian 4x4. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
Norwegian
look that.
4x4. That's
Excellent.
protocol.
So would you agree? Would you agree it's a B?
So I'm actually going to say highly beneficial, A, because think about it. It says movements that strongly support performance and longevity, but maybe a bit more specialized or require good technique, equipment. Great complements to S tier work. So for me, that's like that the explanation is perfect because
I'm
it
not even gonna argue with it because again, I love the freaking exercise.
yeah, yeah. I mean
I'll tell you again, even when I'm not training for a tournament, when I walk by that assault bike, man, I'm like, okay, let's do a quick round of this thing just to remember how much I hate it.
yeah, you hate it before you do it, and then after you're so lit
You
up. You're just like for a couple of hours, you're just on cloud nine. Yeah,
honestly, folks, you want to get you could see us, you could see the passion rising in us because of the adrenaline rush that comes out from it, right? When you do a good session with it.
nothing like a good hit session, or a good jujitsu class.
Yeah, a great jiu-jitsu class, right? We both live for sparring, that's for sure. um, Last but not least, I purposely kept this one last. It's walking slash rucking. So basically, walking with a weighted vest or walking with a backpack with some weight in it. Walking in general is just super important. I'm a huge fan of rucking. I do it with my wife, and why? Because it's not something you're not going to put on a weighted vest and just walk around the gym in a circle. For me, rucking is an excuse to get outside and go have a walk, breathe in fresh air, and you know, when you're climbing or walking up a hill, and you're putting that extra work in, but the sun is out, or even if it's cloudy and a little bit of mist, man, my wife and I really enjoy this experience, and it's something you can start off slow with and just continue to build and build and build, and it's to me, you can get your heart rate going, you get a little sweat going, you feel your legs. It's an all around good exercise and great activity that can only complement and help jujitsu. What do you think, buddy? I think I gave it enough praise from my perspective.
For sure, we're on the same page. But if think of like ancestrally speaking, we evolved walking long distances. What's the problem this day and age? We're all indoors. What are the benefits when you're walking? It's just a super healthy thing to do because of just the zones of training and how long you're working and how easy it is. It's doable for anybody and attainable, and it's synergistic with getting sun, getting light in your eyes in the morning, getting vitamin D exposure, and the effects of being out in nature and how that's synergistic with also your heart rate being elevated, the stamina that you're building, and then the contrast to the high intensity that we're doing all the time. So the answer isn't always like train hard, train hard, train hard. What do you need to do to combat the sedentary lifestyle that we all have, because right after training hard we have to work and we're sitting and we're not doing anything. So it's fantastic, and like it's super healthy for you. It's one of the best things to do. It's actually funny, like over the last few years, like a few years ago I bought like an expensive road bike and I was just doing a lot of rides, like an hour to like 6 hours. But that just doesn't work with overloading yourself plus jujitsu plus working out. But now the contrast is amazing because you're actually now recovering, because walking or rucking is going to just get that blood flow, light activation of your body, get delivering, just promoting more blood flow and delivering nutrients, and just that recovery kind of state that you're in for being outside, and getting the other benefits as well. So I think that's a great conclusion to like an ex. Yeah.
Let me add a little bit more to share how much I love it. It's hunting season now, so you know I've had to work up knowing that hunting season is coming, and I've had to work up on my rucking endurance because come hunting season I have to take quite a bit of weight into my backpack, and I'm holding stuff and transporting it for long distances. And you know, I find coming out of hunting season, I'm usually always in great shape,
Yeah.
and because I'm doing all that walking and scouting and climbing. It's just and then again, the fresh air, the sun, the vitamin D. It's nothing but healthy. So if you guys aren't walking or rucking on a regular basis, honestly, I really think it's worthy of taking the time. So in conclusion, I know where I want to put it. Where if I haven't talked about it enough, where would you put it, sir?
You answer this one. This is
This is an S.
yeah, 100%.
This is absolutely an S, folks. And again, it can only be
And also for
beneficial
your
for your overall health.
right? So
Say that again.
for your metabolic health and your metabolism,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Anybody can do it.
And the older we get, the more important this
Yeah.
type of exercise is. This is essential, even past jujitsu. And we can't do jujitsu anymore. We're broken. Like,
Yeah.
you know, get out and walk. I think people learned the importance of walking and fresh air, especially during COVID. We saw sort of a resurgence in walking, hiking, and rucking. You know, it's been huge. It's quite popular.
For sure. For sure.
So there's our tier list. 20 of the most talked about exercises. I hope we answered people's questions, and you absolutely provided some amazing insight. I'm actually surprised on a few of the S tier items, but once you explained it, made perfect sense. Do you have any honorable mentions that you'd like to throw in? Because folks, by no means is this an extensive list. So we realize that we wanted to hit the 20 most talked about ones. But Professor, like, is there any honorable mention ones that you think are worthy of talking about real quick?
Their exercises or modalities?
Yeah.
Or nothing specific, because those are kind of like it's like the micro to the macro. The macro is just kind of like, understanding the importance of frequency and being consistent with your strength and conditioning. And if you are noticing that whatever you're doing is not complementing jujitsu, and how do I know this? Well, I'm getting more injured, or I'm not motivated to continue my strength and conditioning. I find it grueling, or it's checking one box, like I'm getting jacked in the upper body, but it's not really helping my game. Things like that. Then they should help you kind of navigate your way. It has to complement jujitsu, and you should feel you should have like an objective and a subjective way that you're seeing the progress and how it transfers onto the mats.
So, what would your recommendation be for folks that, again, average folks that are just starting out in jiu-jitsu or a few years into jiu-jitsu, they're training 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week. How often should they be hitting the gym, or how often should they be hitting some of these exercises? What would your recommendation be as a coach?
Right. You want to be consistent, right? So that means that if you can only do twice, I do twice a week. Why? Because I'm pretty much training almost every day. Okay. But that twice a week should have the benefit of keeping you injury free, because that's really at the core, the main goal, and then allow you to make the incremental improvements within your game. And that's dependent on whether you're doing the right things within your strength and conditioning. And what are all those things that are going to allow you to get better at jiu-jitsu is you need to be strong, you need to be fast, you need to be injury free for you to start improving your technique so that you could get better week by week in jiu-jitsu. So if twice a week done every week is getting you to that point, then twice a week is your answer. If you somehow have more time to do more than that, or you just like an avid exercise, you love it, and you're doing 3 times a week and it's still complementing, right? Great. Do that too. But if you are training like 3 times a week, 3, 4 times a week for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden you take a break for whatever reason, you're getting injured or you're just not having fun, you're not motivated, all those things are happening because of something is off, right? The motivation, it does need to be there, yes. Because we're not just the average person or the beginner who's like, yeah, you're not motivated to do anything, just get in the gym and do something, right? You're kind of like a little bit more advanced. So at that point, you need to use these things to help guide you and figure out where you look.
Excellent. Well said, Professor. Well, we've come to the end of the video. Again, great feedback, Professor. Looking forward to your seminar. Folks, check it out.
Go ahead, I'm excited.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good one. Again, folks, if you think we've missed some exercises or you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat. We'll respond directly, and again, if we get enough feedback, we'll do another one of these videos, and we can dig down a little further in some of these topics, because we know it's very important, because we get these questions on a daily basis. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, we appreciate it, and drop a comment. It helps the video a lot. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us.